right now, if you look at the network effects and the speed of growth of the network, and eventually Ethereum will outperform. It only has to outperform by 2x and it's done.
Do you see Ethereum flipping the Bitcoin's market cap?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, this answer was so, as in, I would expect a yes, but it was for sure, it was like more than a yes.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, because one is the internet of value, and the other is a store of value, right? They're not the same things. The value of all of the mobile phone networks in the world is worth a lot more than gold. But nobody compares them. That's stupid. But people compare these things. Now, if in 10 years' time, Bitcoin has smart contracts, has cheap transactions, all of these things that Ethereum offers, then fine, that may change again. I don't think of it necessarily as a permanent flippening. Maybe something else happens. I have a completely open mind. But right now, if you look at the network effects and the speed of growth of the network, Ethereum will outperform. And eventually, it only has to outperform by 2x and it's done. And it's larger. Does that mean that Ethereum's won? No, they're two different things. It's ridiculous.
But still, we will see them both in CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap.
Yeah.
One next to each other.
Yeah. And, and who knows if we look at that in 10 years' time? Could be something else. And I have no issue with that.
I'm curious to know your 2 cents on regulation. And you've been in the space for many years. What's crypto? Is it a commodity, a security, a currency? First, who has to answer this question? As in, who will decide what's crypto? And second, who will hold the axe in the industry to decide what is what?
So I think that this is not any of those things. It's a digital asset. And it has functions and features of everything. So we just need to walk away from the past and stop framing things or putting those square pegs in the round holes and just saying, okay, this is a digital asset. It's different. Kind of Singapore's doing that. I think the Middle East will do that. I think that will be the prevalent way. Switzerland's done a pretty good job with that too. And who's going to make that decision is actually the millennial and Gen Z population. The more that they're involved in the space, the more the politicians will have to listen to them. And what this space is trying to do is change the opportunity set for these people. They came out of university and in their 30s with the most early 30s with the most expensive real estate of all time, most expensive equity market, the most expensive bond market, the most expensive credit market. So their forward expected return on their wealth is incredibly low, the lowest of any generation in history. They also are earning less in real terms than any generation in history. They have more debt than any generation in history as a group of 30-year-olds. This is like the ability for retail to participate in early stage VC, derivative markets, all of the things that have made rich people richer. And it's here for retail. And there's a lot of voters here. And these guys are pretty pissed off in how they've been treated, particularly by the financial world. And I think that is the battle that's coming. It's the battle of the generations. It's the fourth turning.
We've seen recently some steps in the regulation direction in the US. And do you think we are going in the right direction? Do they understand that we are having a new asset class? Or we will be like blocked in this current framework where we use the 1934 security laws for something that appeared 80 years later in a dramatically different environment?
I think what is going on right now is the battle for who has control over this space. If you're a regulator with a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So the CFTC, the SEC, the OCC, the Fed, I mean, everybody wants to say in this thing, right? Because it's power. Why? Well, because they kind of know it's big. That's interesting. So Gensler is trying to sound like he's the tough guy to get people on this side, saying, I'll take control of this, because a lot of these guys are boomers and they don't understand what this is all about. So he's saying, don't worry about it. I've got this. So he's trying to get power himself. But, I think the US is learning about the power of the number of crypto holders and how passionate they are about the space and how much money they have. They will, as I said, they'll be forced to understand that this is not a 1934 securities law. What does the 1934 securities law actually do? It actually forces you to use an intermediary because you're not smart enough to go directly. That's basically the whole thing.
Yep.
You're not smart enough to take risk. Unless you've got $1 million, then take all the risk you want. You can go to a casino, you can buy a gun, but you can't invest in a startup. No. Why? Because it forces people into intermediaries, which is why the banks and the asset managers don't want change. But the behavior that is observable is if you see a group of people who fear change and change is coming, there will be others who will drive it. So disruption, you cannot put the genie back in the bottle. So my guess is there's 20 asset management firms around the world thinking, fuck it, how do we change everything? And that's happening everywhere. The music industry, the film industry, the media business, the insurance industry, the banking industry, everything.